Hey guys, so today I'm going to be doing a book review spoiler free for the Happy Ever After playlist by Abby Jimenez, and I just finished this and I had to do a review for it because I absolutely loved this book. So I'm gonna actually put this down because the way I tilt it gives it a little bit of a glare. So this is a companion novel to her first book, which was The Friend Zone, that released last year, and The Friend Zone was one of my favorite romance reads of the whole year. I fell in love with it. I think people are either hit or miss with The Friend Zone. You either really loved it or you really didn't like it. There is something that happens at the end that's like a little controversial and people have a problem with that, which I totally understand, but I still happen to love it. So I was a little nervous going into this one because The Friend Zone was so good in my opinion, and I did not know how this one was going to fall, if it was going to live up to it, which I didn't think that it would, and I'm happy to say that I think it is probably just as good as The Friend Zone. I may like The Friend Zone a little bit more, but honestly I don't even really know at this point because I am so surprised with how much I loved this companion novel kind of sequel. So although it is a companion novel, you definitely should read The Friend Zone first, because if you read the Happy Ever After playlist and then go and read The Friend Zone, there are a few big things that will be spoiled for you. So definitely go into this knowing that you should read The Friend Zone first. But we're not here to talk about The Friend Zone, we're here to talk about the Happy Ever After playlist. So this is an adult contemporary fiction following two characters. One of the characters was in The Friend Zone. I will not say who it is, I just want to leave it as spoiler free for The Friend Zone as I possibly can. So the book starts when this girl's in her car driving on the road and this dog jumps in front of her car and then proceeds to jump through her sunroof, causing this huge ordeal. She gets pulled over by the policeman. She takes this dog home, she starts caring for it, tries to reach out to the owner, gets nothing in response for a couple weeks, and a couple weeks later the owner of the dog finally gets in contact with her, said he was out of cell range for the past 2 weeks. He can't believe that his dog has been missing for that long, and so they kind of start up a text conversation, phone call conversation, and she agrees to continue watching his dog while he is away out of the country, and so their relationship kind of starts from there. And I really was surprised with how this book went. Don't believe this is a spoiler, but if you're super sensitive to any type of spoiler or anything, maybe just leave here knowing that much. So their relationship happens and they get together pretty quickly, and I was kind of at the halfway point where I was wondering what else was going to happen, because a lot of times in romance novels the whole thing is just the build up to them actually getting together. But with this one, because they got together so quickly, I really didn't know what else was going to happen. But I actually really liked the second half of the book, or like act 2 if you want to call it that. I was watching Jess, she reviewed this, she did a vlog for it, and her thing was that she really liked the beginning half more than the second half, because for her the whole like romance stuff, she likes the whole them waiting to get together and that angst. I actually liked the whole story, and there still was a bit of angst in this book. The relationship that she wrote was just so sweet and endearing. Our character of Jason, he has this element of fame to him that comes to play a really big role in the story, and I really liked that. Some people hate the rock star romance kind of trope, but this didn't feel like necessarily like a rock star kind of romance. He's a very humble guy who's just like an up-and-coming artist, and he kind of just starts making it big, and so you're seeing him transition from this just good songwriter, guitar player, singer into someone who's becoming super famous and popular around the world, really. So I liked that element to it as well, and he as himself though was just so sweet and caring towards our main female character, and that's just what she needed. He was so respectful and patient, and I just absolutely loved his character. There were scenes from his family home that made me so nostalgic for my grandparents' cottage up in Canada. It just took me to that place right away. It made me want to go there so badly. So I hopefully will be planning a trip there within the next year or so, because I love that place. But I absolutely loved reading about that setting because it just holds a very special place in my heart, and just how it's described is just so similar to what my grandparents' cottage is like. So I loved so much about the story, and also the steam factor was pretty low. There was only, if I can remember, one actual steamy scene, and the rest was just like cutesiness, which I am so grateful for, because like I've mentioned before, I'm not a big fan of that. I'm glad that the whole book wasn't centered on that, which sometimes in these romance novels once they get together, that's kind of all the rest of the book is, and I just don't care for that. But this one, it really was more about their relationship, and each of them are growing in their own ways. Was it realistic? No. I don't think any of these rock star kind of romances are super realistic, but I don't care. I loved it. I would highly recommend, honestly, this author. If you have not read The Friend Zone, please read The Friend Zone first and then read this book. Another thing that I really loved about this, so in the beginning of each chapter, she put a song to listen to while you're reading the chapter, which some of the chapters are really short, so I would finish the chapter before finishing listening to the song. And I didn't do it for the whole book. I did it for the first bit because there were so many chapters. It went back and forth between the perspectives a lot, and so I was constantly having to like find a new song and like hit play. But I really still liked that. Like, I remember when I was writing fan fiction, I would listen to one song like over and over again when I was doing a certain chapter. I know some people cannot do with listening to music and reading. I can, for the most part. I do like instrumental stuff, but I also can get away with doing like my little indie chill station in the background. Overall, I would recommend this if you like romance, and especially if you read The Friend Zone. And even if you didn't like The Friend Zone, this book is completely different, so definitely still give this a shot. You may be pleasantly surprised by it, and I am so happy that it lived up to the hype I had for it from the first book. If you read this book, I would love to talk more about it, hear some of your favorite scenes from it, because I have quite a few that I really love from this book. But thank you so much for watching, and happy reading.